Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we are listening to Wish You Were Here. That's right, we are continuing the Pink Floyd discography. Up to this point, I have heard 3 Floyd albums. I started with Dark Side of the Moon, which, while the tiny bit overrated, I don't think it's like the greatest album of all time or anything. It's a fantastic release, undeniable classic, incredible album. I then was sent in their debut album on a stream, which I thought was not so incredible. I thought that album was a little too overly ambitious. I didn't think it quite reached the heights that it was going for. And I think that had they tried to make that album later on into their career when they were a bit more experienced, it would have worked a lot better. But after that, I listened to Animals, which is an undisputed masterpiece, near perfect album in my opinion. That album is just an incredible, mind-blowing 5-track progressive experience, fucking flawless front to back, amazing album. It's pretty damn good. And now we are here on Wish You Were Here. Pink Floyd kind of have like a big 3 in their discography, that being Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, and Wish You Were Here. And I'm very excited for this one, because of the big 3, I've loved the other 2. So I have pretty high expectations going into this. This has a 100 critic score on Album of the Year and a 93 user score. That places it firmly within the top 100 albums on Album of the Year. Everyone I follow on there loves this fucking album, okay? I'm gonna love this. I know for a fact going into this that I'm going to like this album. But to what degree? We'll just have to wait and see. This album came out in 1975. It is 5 tracks, 44 minutes. Decently short album in terms of runtime, but a long album for only 5 tracks. Oh yeah, The Wall. Yeah, no, they have a big 4, including the... How the fuck did I forget about The Wall? The Wall is like their biggest album. Okay, scratch that. They have a big 4, and the other one is The Wall. Okay, I completely fucking forgot about The Wall. I've still not heard The Wall, by the way. It's gonna be the next Floyd album I do after this, probably. Anyway, enough of me yapping. Let's get straight into this. Track 1, Shine On You Crazy Diamond. That does seem to be like a general like least favorite in terms of like the big 4. The Wall is like the one that I never really see people like have as number 1. Number 1 is usually this album, Dark Side or Animals. Yeah, I get what you mean. That's kind of the impression I get from the stuff I've heard from the album up to this point. Animals and The Wall are sort of... Animals is near perfect in my opinion. Anything before 1977, their debut's mid. Yeah. This one's about Syd Barrett, yeah. Okay, so this song is kind of split into 2 tracks across the first song and the last song on the album. We got parts 1 to 5 here, and then parts 6 to 9. 6 to 9 at the end. It's kind of like the opposite of Animals. Animals is 5 tracks starting off with a short one and ending with a short one, and then 3 long ones in the middle. This one starts and ends with 2 long ones, and then you got 3 short ones in the middle. Exactly. Yes, that's obviously a joke. Godspeed You Black Emperor didn't release an album until like 1997. I remember hearing something about that. I think someone, that must have been on a stream fucking forever ago. Someone told me about that. I'm loving how long this intro is. They're really intent on setting a tone here. With these strings, that gorgeous guitar tone. Yeah, never heard this album. Whoa, that bass tone. Okay. Hold on. You can't shove that much, like, just right at me this fast. Holy shit. So much just happened in the span of like 30 seconds there. You get the transition from the first part of the song to the second part, and then it just punches you in the face with the thickest bass I have heard in my life. The most perfect guitar tone I've heard as well. And not only that, do you hear how good the drums sound? Listen, I always glaze when old albums have good drum sounds, but holy shit, that ride cymbal sounds so good. You can hear that thing ring out so well. This shit's off to a pretty good start. God damn, this production's amazing. Yeah, the keys in there as well sound great. Wait, holy it's been 7 minutes. It doesn't feel like 7 minutes. Those toms, they sound so fucking heavy. Oh, really? It's recorded in Abbey Road. Nice. Whoa.
Remember when you were young? You shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Holy shit, these layered vocals.
You were caught in the crossfire of childhood stardom. Come on, you target for faraway laughter. Come on, you stranger.
So surprisingly, like, it's very, like, brutally honest, but also so optimistic at the same time. Whoa. Transition into 4/4, wasn't expecting that. Still has a triplet feel though, so they're kind of keeping it in that kind of 3 feeling. That's pretty cool. Transition is great, I'll let it play out. Ooh. Very nice transition, very subtle as well. That was pretty fantastic. Wow. Yeah, when I hear the praise for this album, I always go into albums like this a bit worried. Because I always hear how praised they are. People are like, oh, this shit is like the best album ever made. And a lot of the times it's not. I can see it with this song. That was genuinely one of the most stunning 70s rock songs I have heard. It is such a fascinating, multi-phased experience of a track that is so... The lyrics don't come in until the final quarter of the song, but it's the most standout moment of the track because of how brutally honest and real the writing is. But it's still so optimistic and so loving. And having a song dedicated to someone who clearly the band cared about so much. And if I remember my lore correctly, Syd Barrett left the band because essentially the weight of all of his like fame and being like fucking shot into the spotlight sort of was too overwhelming for him, and he basically had a mental breakdown, right? At first I thought it was because he died. I'm gonna be honest, I thought this album was because Syd Barrett died, and then someone told me that that was wrong, and I was like, okay. Is that basically what happened with Syd Barrett? Because that seems to be what the song's hinting at as well, because there was one part, let me go back and like see what the line said specifically here. Threatened by shadows at night and exposed in the light. Yeah, you were caught in the crossfire of childhood and stardom, blown on the steel breeze. Essentially, this guy never got... It sort of seems like it's hinting at him losing his mind because he never got the chance to be just a normal, regular person. It's just he goes from childhood straight into being shot into the stratosphere, constantly having eyes on him. And it was just too much for him. Such an impactful track as well. Again, the writing on this song is barely here. It's only the final, like, 4 minutes of the track that have any lyrics. And it's still able to pack such a punch. It still feels like it stings so much, while still being such a warm and loving dedication to Syd Barrett. Essentially, I think the writing on this song is fantastic. And you also have to talk about the structure of this. The fact that it is 13 minutes and only the first half of a song, and it's able to feel like such a complete package experience because every single phase moves in and out of each other in such an interesting way and has such fantastic flow. Like, the song starts off with a string arrangement, then it goes into almost like a guitar solo, then punches into this big waltzy, feels like it could fill a stadium type track, before moving into a more swingy, jazzy thing at the end with, again, swung drums. It transitions into 4/4, and it's very, it has a very, like, triplet feel in sort of like a almost bluesy way. The saxophone comes in as well. This song is, it's like 5 songs put into one, but all 5 of those tracks play so incredibly off of each other that it does make for one holistic experience of a track. This song's a 10. This is a decent contender for the best Floyd song I've heard. And that's saying a lot, because, you know, Animals has Dogs on it. Dogs is a pretty incredible song. That is a very, very strong contender. That is just such an incredible gut punch of a track. Yeah. Pretty incredible shit. Next up we have Welcome to the Machine. I've heard this one. I don't remember much about it, but I've heard it. Yeah, I heard about that. I do actually want to make a quick mention of this because, like, just because someone has a differing opinion to you about music doesn't mean you need to start going and, like, getting angry at them. The entire point of these channels, like mine, like Night Reacts, like a Brad Taste in Music as well, is that we are sharing our opinions and trying to engage in discussion about our differing thoughts on the music. And if your reaction to someone liking something less or more than you is to get angry, you are defeating the purpose of music discussion and you make it inherently boring. So yeah, if you are one of the people who commented on Night React's video giving him shit for not giving Darksided 10, stop doing that. I did it too, and you people weren't mean to me for the most part.
Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine.
Oh, I remember this song. Yeah. I remember this.
You bought a guitar to punish your mom. So
Ooh. Damn. Whoa. I forgot. Such incredible blending of the acoustics and electronics here. I'm always impressed when older albums like this have synth sounds that have aged this well. Like, this album turns 50 years old this year, and the electronic elements have aged this well. It still sounds stunning. Oh, big timpanis as well, nice. There was one bar in there that was a different time signature and it threw me off. Let me go back and try and count that. It's in 3. Oh, that transition from 3 to 4 is really weird. Yeah. That completely threw me off. Pink Floyd has a mid-vocalist. It has multiple vocalists. You got Roger Waters and David Gilmour doing vocals. Do any of the other bandmates ever do vocals? Or is it just Roger Waters and David Gilmour? Oh, it's just the two of them? Okay. You all played the vocals as well? Nice. Oh yeah, this is such a great atmospheric track. This one feels a lot more just beaten down and dejected than the previous song did. The hell was that? Yeah, unsettling is a good way to put it. Oh. This end bit kind of feels like it's from the perspective of Syd Barrett, maybe. Just him feeling overwhelmed around all these people. Song's about a kid growing up and being introduced to the grim reality of the world, yeah. Yeah, Welcome to the Machine, it kind of takes some of the it's more leaning into the brutal honesty that was present on Shine On You Crazy Diamond. It's basically being like, you have been beaten down, you are dejected, you have been subject to all of these things in your life. You know, welcome to the machine, welcome to what everyone has to go through. It's such a harsh reality type song. It's just bitter truth being portrayed through someone losing their mind. And it is impactful as hell. Yeah, that song is better than I even remember it being. I remembered bits and pieces of this track. I didn't remember the full thing going into this. But man, as a full package experience and as a follow-up to the opener, I think that song is near perfect, if not perfect. It is a lot more menacing. It is a lot more haunting and harrowing than the previous track. And I think that seeing the darker, more internalized fear that I guess is meant to be a look into Syd Barrett as a person is such a great way to take this album. Such an incredible direction to sort of steer the narrative that this album has. And I think that having something that is sort of an introspection on the subject of the album as opposed to an outsider's point of view, I really like that. This is a high 9 to a 10. As of right now, I'm liking this more than Animals. These first two songs, I'm shocked that I'm saying this, but I'm liking it more than Animals. I didn't think there would be a Pink Floyd album better than Animals, but if this keeps up, this might end up being my favorite Floyd album. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. Next track, Have a Cigar. we're getting some more like southern rock here, okay. Mixed with the synths, of course.
Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar, you're gonna go far. I've always had a deep respect, I mean that most sincere.
Is this from the perspective of like a record label or something? I've always had a deep respect, and I mean this most sincerely. The band is just fantastic. By the way, which one's Pink? That's pretty fucking okay. So is this essentially a list of different perspectives? You get one that's like from the perspective of the band. You get one that's sort of a look into Syd Barrett himself, and then this one's a record label. Is this essentially different people's perspective of who Syd Barrett is? Okay. Yeah. Up to this point, I agree. Not heard The Wall yet, but yeah. Sound at first was hated by the critics. Damn. Now it's their most well received critically. $970 weeks? Whoa. Yeah, 18 years. That's fucking crazy. Whoa. Have a Cigar is, and I'm going to say something that might shock you guys here. It's my least favorite so far. It's the first song that I don't think is a 10. That song is still fantastic, and I think it is damn close to a 10. I just don't think, if I'm comparing it to the first two, it just isn't quite as impressive to me. Where the first two are such harrowing, gripping experiences. That's just an incredible song. But it isn't quite on the same fucking mind-blowing level as the rest of the album has been up to this point. I like that we're getting a song from the perspective of a record label wanting the band to sell out, wanting to make another Dark Side of the Moon, and just seeing nothing but money. I think this song is a great way of going about it. There's a lot of songs like that criticize record labels and criticize charts and people just wanting the same thing over and over again. I think this song is one of the better examples of that I've heard, because having it be from the perspective of the people that want just the same thing over and over again is really clever. And I think that the writing on this track is fucking flawless. The only thing that brings it down from being a 10 for me is the fact that I feel like it's just a little inconsistent lyrically in comparison to the rest of the album. Like, you have two songs that are very much completely dedicated to Syd Barrett, and you get one that's about record labels. I do wish that it was maybe a little more consistent in terms of lyrics, but I don't really give a shit when the song is that good. It gets a 9.7 to a 9.8, just beneath a 10 for me. It is still, it's an incredible song, just not as impressive as the first two. Welcome to the Machine is also a reaction to the music business. Yeah, but it could be seen as that, but from what I got from the song, it seems like welcoming someone into the real world and being like, hey, this is how things actually are. And then it seems to, especially coming after Shine On You, Crazy Diamond, it seems to be more of an introspective look into Syd Barrett and his reaction to what the world is actually like, especially when being thrust into fame. That's what I got from that song, at least. But I guess it could be seen as also talking about the music business as well. Anyway. Next track, Wish You Were Here.
And discipline remains mercifully.
What the fuck was that? Really? More Than Another Brick in the Wall? I don't think I've heard this one. I don't recognize it up to this point, at least.
So you think you could tell heaven from hell? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade cold comfort for change? Did you
exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in Cage? There's a surprising amount of like instrumental variety here as well. Like the previous song felt kind of like it had some southern rock influences. There's been elements of blues rock in here. This one feels a little bit folky. This album has so much instrumental variety across all these different tracks. Like you're constantly being given something new. Should you give it a 99 or a 100? The album isn't done yet. How can you give it a score when the album isn't done? Whoa. Crazy transition into the final track there. Wish You Were Here. That feels like a, not necessarily a course correction, but it feels like a return to the main theme of the album in a very satisfying way that doesn't feel like it's just the album's here, then it goes all the way over here, and then we're suddenly back here. It feels like it's actually very consistent with how the previous 3 songs went. This song, to me, what I get out of it is it being another sort of point of view of the band at Syd Barrett's sort of, maybe just specifically from David Gilmour himself. This one was actually written by Roger Waters, not David Gilmour. I didn't realize that on a first listen. Whoops. Talking about his regrets, talking about how he misses him, sort of remembering things in the past, and how he feels... I sort of felt like he was saying that he feels even more connected to him after the events that happened because he sort of can relate to his struggles. There was one particular line. Yeah, we're just 2 lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fears. Wish you were here. He's saying that he feels even more, at least that's what I'm getting out of it. He's saying he feels connected to him on a certain level, like more after everything that has happened, and that he wishes that he was there to be able to tell him that. That is just such a gut punch, man. Man, this album is fucking rough. It's so optimistic, but it's also so devastating at the same time. Just having so many songs that are such a loving tribute to this person, just... It's hitting all the right notes. That one is another, like, high 9... That one's like a 9.8 to a 10. I'm torn between which score to give that. It's one of the two. He wishes for you to shush and play the song. Bro, I'm not just gonna sit here and in silence and play the music, okay? If you wanna do that, there's plenty of reaction channels that do that. Okay? And they get a lot more views than I do. We're here. We're at the final song. We've been going for 50 minutes already. That's kind of crazy. It doesn't feel like it. Syd Barrett's last words before he died were "leave me alone." Damn. That fucking sucks. That's also surprisingly fitting though. Barrett kind of based. Exactly. Anyway, we're here. Final song. Shine On You Crazy Diamond, parts 6 through 9. Lego. Is this a tensifier? We're a minute into the song. It's, I don't score things when I'm a minute, well, 2 minutes in. It's all context based. Were the song to just end here, it would be like a 5. But I do think as a beginning to a song, this is incredible. The album's not over either. They are loving 3, 4, and 6, 8 on this album. Leave Me Alone about some coleslaw, that's pretty fucking based. Transition back into 6. So it went from 6 into 4/4 triplets back into 6. I'm actually going to get Genius up for this one, because it does seem to be echoing just kind of what the first one was saying, but there's some like more specifics in here that I want to... well as well. This is surprisingly bouncy, and like I'm shocked that they have such a straightforward, like almost feels like a, how do I put this? It's an instrumental that has very broad appeal, which I did not expect for this album. I then proceeded to spend the next 2 minutes saying nothing about the song and just yapping with the chat. Great reaction content, I know. Listen to the worst Pink Floyd album? I disagree. This is in contention with Animals for their best, in my opinion. The 8 Ball says yes. You know, as an album closer, that is about as perfect as I could ask for. It has all of the emotion, all of the insane instrumental power that the rest of the album has had. And not only that, it ties everything together in such a satisfying and fulfilling way. This song is essentially... It's like the cherry on top of the album, but it's also the second longest song on the album. I went into this album a little worried about the Shine On You Crazy Diamond tracks because they're both different parts of the same song, but one as the opener and one as the closer. And while it worked for Pigs on the Wing on Animals, I was a little more worried about this because, you know, the songs added together are 25 minutes here, whereas the Pigs on the Wing tracks are only both, what, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that? I don't know. They work so well as opening and closing statements. And I'm so glad that they weren't put back to back. Wish You Were Here could have been a solid closer, but finishing Shine On You Crazy Diamond to wrap the album up is the best move they could have made. This song is such a... It's a fucking mind-blowing track, man. Again, it's not even just in terms of the way it wraps up the themes of the album, but in the different sections all being so vastly different to each other. You bring in some more of the swing stuff at the beginning, you have lots of time signature switches, you have multiple tempo changes. The pace of the song feels like it's constantly stopping and starting, but not in a bad way. It feels more like it feels like more like a roller coaster. You have your rises and then you have your dips in the tempo. And all of it flows together so naturally, and it feels like it is just such a perfectly crafted track structurally. And then you add on to that, again, the lyrics of this song, feeling like they actually... Like, there's hardly any... There's only a couple lines on this track, but all of them feel so important as a way of ending this, as one final tribute to Syd Barrett. And it just has all of the same impact that the previous tracks had. This is how you do a long closer to an album. This was... That song was stunning. It was actually a mind-blowing song. I would give that one a 10. We've ended the album on one of its strongest notes. I don't think it's quite as... I would say, in terms of the 3 10s I've given to this album, it would be... If I had to rank them, it would be last place... Crazy Diamonds, parts 6 through 9. Then it'd be Welcome to the Machine, and then number 1 would be Crazy Diamonds 1 through 5. But still, all 3 of them, I think, are perfect songs. And that was Wish You Were Here, ladies and gentlemen. This album is... It lives up to the hype. I went into this worried that it was going to end up being, like, my least favorite of, like, the 3 big Floyd albums that I've heard up to this point because of the monumental praise that is thrown onto this thing, more than Animals, and arguably even more than Dark Side of the Moon. And I left it feeling like it is a strong contender. It's so close between this and Animals for me as their number 1 that I've heard up to this point. This album essentially is all of the best things about 70s rock music put into 5 incredible tracks. It is a gut-wrenching, disgusting, but also fascinating and gorgeous experience front to back. It is only 44 minutes, but it feels like you get 2 hours worth of content across these 5 tracks. These songs are so densely packed with so much instrumental variety, so much lyrical depth, and so many just devastating songs about regret and companionship towards Syd Barrett, and sort of feeling as if they are closer to him now than they ever were beforehand after all of the events that took place with him in his life. This is a one-of-a-kind album. It's so different to Animals. I went into this thinking it was going to be similar. This is nothing like Animals. I don't think I can't imagine ever hearing another album like this that is this good. This is a like once-in-a-lifetime type project that I don't think can really be recreated or matched in the same way Animals is, but again, it's such a different project. I am in awe of this. I think this is one of the best 70s albums I have heard. It's a great album, undeniably. Look at that. I think Wish You Were Here is a good album, guys. Fucking what a shocker. What a complete and utter shocker. Yeah, pacing wise, structurally, track placement, production, performances, writing, everything about this album is spotless. No complaints from me. It's a 100. I'm not sure. I don't know if I would give this a 10. I don't have any complaints about it. I don't have any problems with this album. I don't have any nitpicks. Well, there is one nitpick I had about this album. There is one. And it is that Have a Cigar, I just don't think was as impressive as the others, but it's still a near perfect song. I'm going to add up the scores. I don't know whether it's going to land on a 9.8 or a 9.9. I'm going to add up the scores. My score for this album would be a flat 99, but I don't give out 99s. So, for the first reaction of 2025, I'm feeling a 10. This has joined the ranks of only 20 other albums that I have given a 10. This is an utterly mind-blowing experience. Thinking about this album is making me choke up a little bit, actually. Thinking about how monumental of an experience this is and how incredible of a tribute it is to Syd Barrett. Damn. Yeah, this album is a 10. After much mental debate, I have come to the conclusion that yes, this album is a 10. Yeah. That was Wish You Were Here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, undeniably a classic and a 10 in my eyes. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below. Fascinated to see what everyone else thinks of this album. Do you think it's overrated or do you think it lives up to the hype? How does it compare to other Floyd albums for you? And what other Floyd albums would you like to see me listen to? We're going to be doing The Wall next in terms of the Floyd discography, so that's going to be pretty exciting. Make sure you like and sub if you haven't. We are on our way to 2K. Links in the description to my Discord, my Album of the Year, my other channels, and my Twitter. Check those out if you have not. Make sure you let me know what other albums you would like me to listen to in the future as well. And I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye-bye.